What's going on, Jeromes? So right now, this time of year, it's a weird interregnum of training camp is basically wrapped up. Then you got one more preseason game left. Practice is close to the fans. Cats and dogs living together. And before the start of the regular season, when you get the formalized injury reports, everyone has to talk about injuries and all that stuff. So, Jefferson's returned to practice. Metellus is back at practice. But there's a couple of players that have been missing practice for over a week plus, and you're like, oh yeah. But Harrison Smith, future Hall of Famer, safety Harrison Smith, as well as Andrew Van Ginkel, Gink 6, living on the edge, have been missing practice for a week plus. That includes joint practices with the Patriots, as well as Monday's practice away from the prying eyes of the fans, except for Chad Greenway. Anyways, Star Tribune, Emily Leiker has done a phenomenal job. Good times. Wrote about stuff and things stuff over at the Strib, and about Harrison AVG. She wrote this: Vikings still without key defensive players. The Vikings were once again without outside linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel and safety Harrison Smith at practice. Talk about practice. Van Ginkel has been present at practices, but is street closed since August 7th. His injury is unknown. Now, we'll get to it. Smith has been absent from practices since August 11th, which is today's 19th, so about a week plus, 8 days. With what O'Connell said, August 13th is an illness. So right away, like illness, and then away from the facility, immediately you're thinking, ruh-roh. All right, now it's weird that you're hoping it's like the flu. It's something that's contagious, and we don't need Harrison Smith going number 2 and number 3 all over the facility, right? That sort of makes sense. And with Van Ginkel, so you remember, Van Ginkel was coming off a foot injury that he suffered at the end of his Dolphins career, so they're taking things very slow with him last year. Lots of rest days, lots of veteran days, and that could be the case here as well, as we've seen that the Vikings are abundantly cautious with injuries. I don't want to say overly cautious, because I feel like you can't really be overly cautious, especially this time of year, but abundantly cautious to get him back week 1, and that makes sense in that regard. But not sounding off alarm bells, but the Harrison one does make you raise eyebrow a little bit. And maybe even return to practice this week, because as Kevin McConnell said yesterday, this is going to be a solid week of practice for the veterans, who obviously aren't going to play in Friday's preseason game, but this is the last chance to get some camp work in before next week comes around, and it's the regular drumbeat of, hey, this is the NFL regular season, and we get into a rhythm, and we go from there. But it's something where at this time of year, like we said, being overly cautious, being abundantly cautious, same thing, same deal. But at a certain point, as it becomes a week, as it becomes a week and a half, as it becomes 2 weeks, maybe raise a little eyebrow a little bit. So we'll see. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings veterans still not practicing. Harrison Smith as well as Andrew Van Ginkel. Harrison's not even at the facility. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts. Comment section. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skull production value.